Sorry. Hi guys. Well, yeah. So this it's quite obvious today. The SPY is dropping uh, rapidly and has dropped $6 roughly, um, seven almost. Now, the this is not really what we're concerned about as traders, because that is what the investor is
Sorry, guys,
is concerned about.
yeah.
So we're not
And obviously, the SPY
we're not concerned about that. What we're concerned about is the magnitude of where we're headed. So when we think about something like this, we think about again back to the sort of the data that's going to narrow our range for today as to what the SPY could be and what the SPY is going to be like. So we have a slew of data today that's like very important to us. Obviously, the first shocker that we have today is that GDP dropped in the first quarter. The thought of having that, having and then having initial claims come down a little bit, and then having continuing claims sort of balance out is sort of a mixed bag again of somewhat important data mixed in with obviously a poor Q1 GDP. So we're talking right now about, well, from my perspective, how much will the SPY drop today? And so that's what we're concerned about. We're not concerned about that the SPY dropped. And all of this obviously has to do with the poor earnings. It's earnings season, tech earnings season, and we came out with obviously a poor sort of I wouldn't say poor, but like somewhat divided earnings season, where there were some tech stocks that gave good projections, and some that had given poor revenue guidance and poor earnings. So we are. I think the market obviously is taking a step back, but right now what we're concerned about is what the market thinks would be a good point to settle at. And I wanted to like pull up the charts that we had on the SPY, because I think obviously it's today is below the the VWAP at the beginning, but we want to sort of determine where the VWAP could be or should be or could be by the end of today. So obviously right now we have sort of 1 second here. We have we have this channel pattern break from yesterday. So we had this pretty good channel, like looking at the 30-minute. We have this good channel from yesterday that we instantly broke, and from 506, call it 505, to below 500. So why do we think it's below 500? Well, one, this is sort of a readjustment of the earnings, of sort of a culmination of net assets, operating assets not living up or not catching pace with, or not in tune with or in line with what our revenue projections are, or earnings projections are. So I think we're seeing this correction back to what was, I think, back in maybe, I think, is it at the beginning of January? We don't even have to think, like, it should be roughly the beginning of January where we're correcting back to those levels. And so if that's the case, if we think about it like that, I think, as a trade idea, like, we would be looking more into the sort of the volume profile and the histogram, or sort of like the momentum of today as being a trade on the SPY. So we're seeing right now, obviously, there was huge resistance here at 506, but now we're seeing, like, okay, we sort of, at least this morning, for the first while, we're settling right here on this resistance here, and I would guess that if the market picked up today and we spike in volume, I think we have a bit of room to fall here. I think we could fall back down to probably if the momentum sort of doesn't go our direction, I think we have a chance we can go down to about 490, 495, 493 to a previous resistance level, and so that is a concern. I would hold off for at least for the first 15 minutes or so right now. I think the market has if we look at pre-market, I think tells us a little bit of a detail about what the market sort of thinks after, like, sort of the GDP announcement. We saw a huge downward turn from an already sort of sloping downwards to below 500 sort of valuation of. So this depending on, I guess, what the market is going forward, I think we should hold off on the SPY for a little bit here until we sort of get these volume profiles sort of sorted out. We see that right here at, again, when we were saying, like, this point sort of has a resistance here, and so we're seeing that, and we're seeing a buyer sort of pick up from this resistance point. So I think it's still a little bit early here. I think we have, like, what is it, 1.5 million and sort of 1 million roughly. So these psychological sort of numbers are something that is solved with or is carried away with by market just the sheer market volume momentum. So we're gonna have to wait on that a little bit. So initial claims, continuing claims are really sort of the highlights that I can see from today. What's sort of known is that when you think about it, like, if the interest rates are this high, obviously GDP would come down because of that. So the interest rate sort of those interest rates cuts are obviously important in invigorating the economy in the short term, in the short run. So that's sort of what what I think we're dealing with right now, at least. And yeah, so initial claims really is the highlight for today. I want to take a like Meta. Obviously, if we talk about some stocks here, I'm going to post the economic data in a bit here. But Meta obviously dropped. Pre-market dropped like 15% from poor sort of earnings. But we're as traders, we're just doing our job and putting in the proper support and resistance levels, and sort of carrying forward from that. Yeah. So if we see this 5 minute here, we see like the new resistance right now is at 515.61, and could obviously if it appears to most investors that this morning at initially like 515.61 is obviously another low of the day. We could go this stock, I think has the potential to possibly go back up to maybe 455 today, because I think that like if this is a tech-driven rally, which obviously we've been saying it is as a theme, AI, mining, this, so on and so forth. There's actually, I think, like Meta could rebound today to possibly like maybe the 450 level. Yeah, so we can hold off on that for 1 second. If that's only if like the SPY doesn't tank on us. So I think we should always, like for today, definitely today, keep an eye out on Meta. I think it would be a wise decision to sort of take the gamble right now, and sort of because this whole narrative is sort of hasn't really been played out yet. We could see a rebound like on Meta. So I'm gonna actually say like I'm gonna put a call on SPY. Sorry, on Meta. Call on Meta. So first of all, hold SPY at call on Meta at 428. Whiskey. Okay. So if SPY is at 498.67. Oops. Oh, actually, that's pretty low here. Allister, you don't get it. It's not developing this. So this, I would keep an eye out on Meta right now. Like, I think like this four. Maybe I would wait like if we look at this 15-minute candle here, we have sort of what is it, like 425 as the first as the first bit here. So I would say 425, 426 would be a good. See, the SPY is sort of dropping a little bit more here, but I would start putting call on Meta, maybe Meta at maybe 425. Call it 424, 424, 425. Okay. So we still have the pending home sales and the natural gas inventories. It's not something that we're too obsessed about right now, because obviously the market is sort of obsessing about these GDP numbers. So that's why I think we could get sort of a equalization of this stock price. So if we can sort of get these numbers here and sort of understand that, hey, like these continuing and initial claims appear to be pretty good. So really, I think the like businesses are doing their best to sort of put their workers and put their employees and use their company sort of resources to have their opinion, have their how would I say it, like move the markets to a lower interest rate environment. And if that's the case, then and if that's what they need in order to grow their business, then perhaps I think I think a June rate cut is probably very much in the scope right now. And if that's the case, that's what these numbers sort of tell us. But I wouldn't be too obsessed with it, because that's a month and a bit. Like, it doesn't really affect us. We have trade, international trade, sort of outflow of trade, meaning there are more imports into the country. It's because so if there are more imports into the country, that's good. Their retail inventory decreased, and advanced wholesale inventory decreased too. So we have less inventory. Companies are trimming down, expenses are going up, and we're seeing more layoffs. But however, less initial claims, less or stable continuing claims. So is it that we're sort of reaching a point of in the business cycle where we're going to be growing at a quicker rate? So I guess that's what the market's trying to figure out. But we shouldn't be. I think we shouldn't be obsessed with the fact that this is this economic data. We should play, like, for example, the SPY on the 2-minute right now. I think a fade. I think it's pretty obvious that the SPY is not hasn't bottomed out yet. So in that case, I think I think we still have a bit to drop. As I said, we should probably right now seeing that, and I think the market has sort of made a decision, made a trend where I think this 498. If we give it a little bit here, we should see whether or not this 498 is sort of this 498 here. So with the 6 and sort of the 13, the 6 sort of just touched and crossed the 13 here. So we have a little bit of a bearish signal here. So if that's the case, I think we could I think this bearish signal is maybe could be a dip buy back up to 500, back up to VWAP, or maybe even VWAP. So we have to see what this volume right now is sort of adjusting to that. So I could see that. Yeah, maybe we should do a call right now on the momentum's picking up. I would say maybe do a call right now maybe do a call right now on the SPY. You could see this sort of trend downwards some more. Yeah, so I think this could be something that could be a trade idea here. Okay, so if we have that, then let me put in like we should see like whether or not this sort of is what we're after here. I would wait for the rest of the data right now. That could shift I could shift the SPY a little bit here. So we're really sort of trying to do things on a margin here, on a margin on based on the marginal news that we get for today. But we're seeing obviously the trend downward. We're trying to see here the trend down. The fact that the 6 and the 13 sort of came together and then drop back down. So now we're seeing this sort of fall on back down here, fade on back down, and we're getting these sort of confirmations that with this sort of candle here that that I think there's more to drop, so we should put puts on the, but we should hold off until a little bit here, until I get sort of the rest of the data here. So pending home sales haven't gotten the data yet, but if like the pending home sales and inventories don't necessarily correlate with and sort of the really the initial claims sort of really doesn't really correlate with the rest of the market. I mean, the continuing claims and the initial claims are sort of in a different part of the market than the pending home sales and natural gas or GDP is obviously the main sort of piece, cornerstone of piece of sort of this paradigm. Yeah, so we're just going on what we think is appropriate for the market. So pending home sales has gone up, so we have that to think of. I just think we shouldn't over obsess with the numbers too much in terms of tech, but I think the SPY in itself, I think is sort of downward trending and downward sloping. So I think like it would be unwise really to sort of try to crack at any shelf for a little bit here. I would say puts on the SPY here for at least for an hour or so, or whatnot. Maybe 497, 498. 498 is even a good sort of idea here. We're trying to understand, like, so the market isn't big on the earnings, but it really isn't. Overall, the market is sort of, I think, obsessed with with the fact that sorry, that GDP has gone down, but we sort of have already through the sort of the poor economic data that we've gotten in the past few weeks, we sort of like anticipated this GDP number and like of negative 1.6, and I think we've already jumped the gun on talking about the possibility of having interest rate cuts to stimulate the economy. So like that's already sort of priced into the markets, and it's just really a matter of whether or not the certainty of a June rate cut. And I think like after this number, like of negative 1.6 for Q1, I think it's quite obvious that there should be a rate cut in June. So that's already priced in. Is sort of what we're talking about. what I'm talking about. So you're getting these sort of mixed signals is what I'm saying. I think the market should equalize today, should normalize today. So I would actually like this 498 put on the SPY might not actually be very very wise right now, because I think where we could see some sort of normalization. So yeah, so but right now I think like we could leave this put here on the SPY for a little bit here at 498. It still has to break this this downward trend here, this downward channel here, and if we take a look back at sort of our previous resistance and support levels, we can see that, especially on the SPY here, we can see that like the previous resistance level on the 15-minute is 497. We have 497s. We have even on the 30-minute, as I mentioned earlier, we have even 494. So we're trying to figure this out. We need some sort of we're trying to figure this out right now here. Okay, economic data. I would still leave the 498 puts. I would still leave the 498 puts just because it has to crack this shelf. This 498 put, this downward trend. I don't see it doing that. I think that's a good trade. But I think the meta trade is more difficult. I think N is more important because like we're betting on the fact that, or we're trading on the fact that the SPY is moving in one direction, whereas but it's not necessarily representative of sort of the overall trend or tech sector, and obviously the tech sector has been sort of oversold for the past month or so. So I think that this call on Meta, if you like, I haven't called on Meta yet. Like I have I haven't bought any options, but I would suggest like a call on Meta at 425 because it seems like it's been oversold for quite a bit already. Just from the past month or so. Okay, so what else? So what else is there? Southwest Airlines today dropped 10% roughly. 10%. Nvidia is up over 800 now, and that's always good to know. Like I think this is just like sort of when you see things like Nvidia up over 800, and sort of maybe Intel, for example, up today. Some of the blue chips seem to be a good place for investors to invest in. So let's see SMCI here. SMCI, I would say is interesting, obviously. Let's see if I can. Oh, what is going on here? SMCI. Okay, so for whatever reason, SMCI is smarter than me right now. The stock is now. Oh, okay. So SMCI. Okay, we'll come back to SMCI. SMCI over here, like SMCI is at 754. But obviously, like today, like if you if you got in on something at this morning, like at the bell, that would have been quite a sharp upward move. I think SMCI could be coming back to a multi-period high here. Yeah, so I would actually do some calls on SMCI right now. I could see like this is a 760 is a resistance level. So that is something like that is possible, interesting enough. Okay. So we got the chart back here. So I could see like if we maybe on the 30-minute we're seeing a consolidation pattern. We're not seeing much volume, obviously, so we could see something maybe like a 777, 772, 772 could go for a little rip and run here, little rip and run. I think that could be possible. So I would say a call on SMCI here. I think that's a pretty good. I think it could go up to 770. 770 seems like a pretty good. Hit a multi-period high, a little like a high of where we're touching a high again. Okay, so I think we could possibly buy on a pullback here, maybe 760, maybe 762 here. So that's something we can look into. Got the level 2 here. Okay, so that's probably something we can look at. I would say Nvidia too. Nvidia is if sort of these two stocks sort of come are sort of like pretty good here. So Nvidia, I could see it possibly right here. Possibly if we draw this trend line here at roughly 807 or so, we could we see the spike here. Yeah, so So right now, Nvidia is already up like pretty much 3%. So I would actually hold off on Nvidia. I wouldn't really buy into Nvidia just yet. Because I think the volume is kind of it's higher than average today. So if we can keep this volume, I would do some calls on Nvidia. So this is sort of wait and see a little bit here. Because like yeah, this today this could go up to about 8:30, so I would wait a little bit here on Nvidia. I think we could go up to about 8:30. I wouldn't say 8:30. Let me check let me check the 15-minute here. I would say if we sort of get a bounce back. We could possibly go up to maybe 825 ish, maybe. So we'll have to keep our sort of understanding on that, sort of eye on our money on the sidelines for this here. Now we're getting up, come back down here on SMCI. The SPY right now, back to the SPY. SPY here. We're at about 500, 499. So we're actually crossing back up on this. So the SPY puts aren't really working out for us right now. Like we're down a little bit because we said puts on the 498, but I would still hold these puts on the SPY until maybe 10:30 ish. But I would probably maybe fade a little bit of the of your position on this right now, since it's gone up maybe like about 80 cents or so, 90 cents. It's back up to VWAP now on the 2-minute. So Costco. Costco is sort of today we mentioned that wholesale inventories came in below expectations, and you saw that obviously the market responded by by this stock going down about $9 in the first 45 minutes or so. So we're seeing this where we're seeing the market itself so really trying to bring the SPY, like essentially trying to run back up to or come back up to 500, the 500 level. Yeah, but right now we can see that Costco obviously the puts on this morning on Costco would have worked out for a $10 sort of put sort of profit here. Will it move back down today to 712? Hard to say. Volume hasn't really. The volume seems to. So we're seeing these pretty much low volume like trade sizes. So I mean, this could possibly come back down to about 712, maybe 714. So Costco is on the 1 minute. You know, 1 minute here. Okay. So yeah, so we're seeing a bunch of these stocks really. Aside from the tech stocks coming down quite a bit. Not much, but a bit, in line with the general market percentages. So SPY is sort of making a break up for. I would say, yeah, making a break up to 500. It has a little bit, but it has a little bit of room to make it up to 500. But this is sort of like a difficult, sort of. Since the market is so obsessed with the GDP numbers, I find it difficult for us to reach 500 for a little bit here, at least. Intel up a bit. So sort of the blue chip stocks are what's driving the economy right now. I think de-risking of smaller stocks, less known stocks. So yeah, so like I want to take a look at maybe like something like a smaller, lesser known stock here. See how it's doing today. Yeah, so we have some like de-risking here of this Sizu stock. Kazoo. Kazoo is a British, is a international sort of company here that showed up on our ticker yesterday. So that's interesting to see that is back down. If we're back to sort of like something like back to Costco here. Still maintaining this level here. Check out some news. Seeing what we're getting roughly here. I think we should probably, for the time being, just keep this SPY. We're seeing the SPY sort of come back up a little bit here at 440, 499.50. So this is a wait and see approach right now. We're just not even an hour in roughly. So Wait on it a little bit. Wait on it. Wait on it. So arms back up, obviously. NVDA. 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 We're seeing that if we take a look at it, you know, we're getting a push up, and that's good to know. Like we were saying, 825 would be pretty reasonable. 825, and we're already at about 822 now. So I think we got another maybe a few dollars here. So we have to sort of think about that a little bit. Let's see what we can get here. Hold on 1 second here. Chart traders. Oh, there we go. So I think NVDA. If anybody purchased NVDA, I think it's still a good. I think it's still a good call. I would still call on right now. Even I would call on. What is it right now? Hold on 1 second. We're already up like 3%. So call on NVDA at 825 for maybe a $2 spike here at maybe 823, or for a $2, maybe $2.50, $2 to $3, maybe $3 spike even, because we're checking out the previous resistance levels here. So we're seeing something like right here at about 825 or so. So we're trying to understand maybe like 826. Could we make 826? Could we, or 827? I think maybe that's a little too much then for the market right now. It's 3%, 3%, 3% here. So I think a call at 820 is pretty appropriate for Nvidia right now. I think call on Nvidia calls. Call on Nvidia 820. So you can do something like that at 820. But sometimes I think like momentum is obviously, you know, very important. We had a resistance, several resistances. 815 was a resistance. 809, 810. Obviously, were sharp resistances. They seem to have gone right. You know, the market has gone right past them. So, 820 could be something. Yeah. Doesn't seem, however, it doesn't seem like Nvidia sort of going past the sort of the 3%, 310% mark too often here. So maybe this is sort of heading back down. So we have to sort of be very sort of cautious about, keeping our losses tight. Maybe $1, $2 loss on NVDA, but we're going for like maybe $3 or something like that, or $4, $5. So I think this could be a turn right now. We could see a turn, but we got to be very, maybe calls turning into puts. Oh, yeah. So yeah, I would back off on the call on NVIDIA at 820. I would change that. Probably I would give it a little bit and then change it back to either back to a put or back to a call, because it doesn't seem to be breaking this 3%, 3.10% here. So we should try to take advantage of this downward momentum if we do have a downward momentum. So let's see what the 2 minute says here. A 5 minute, we have a 5 minute here. So we're getting this drop on down here. Yeah, we're starting to get this drop on down. So I'd say puts on. We're starting to get this drop on down here. Oh, now it's back up a little bit. So we have to sort of see this a little bit here. So yeah, we touched 822.90. We're not getting it. We got rejected. So I think we can safely do puts on NVIDIA right now. So yeah, let's do puts on NVIDIA. We thought we could go back up, but we couldn't. So puts on NVIDIA right now. Call it 817. 17. We thought we could get. Maybe we can give it. Maybe we can give it even on the 1 minute. Give it another minute or so. Give it a see what we can see what we can get here on the 1 minute. Okay. So let's get in at 8:15 here. Let's see if we can get in 8:15 8:15:40. Puts on puts on NVDA 815. 815. Okay, let's see what we can get here. Okay, we clearly have a downward trend here. We clearly have another resistance level here at about 813 or so. We know normally that NVDA normally gives back, you know, maybe $1 or $2 all the time, but you know, we clearly see a downward trend, and that's what we're after here right now. But you know, we could see momentum pick up again. We just have to sort of see if we can get a confirmation here. Okay. So, back to what we're like looking back at the just to finish off the economic data here. Okay. Okay, so we got the natural gas inventory. So inventories, natural gas, heating, utilities gone up. So yesterday we had gasoline, stuff like that, sort of drawn down. So that, what does that have to do with everything? That has to do with consumer, like, you know, just overall consumer, you know, spending, consumer, you know, like what affordability, what can they afford? So that's why we're not seeing like a complete, I think, not a complete tank in the market, because we have pretty good initial claims numbers, continuing claims numbers. Yeah, increase in home sales, pending home sales. I wanted to, yeah. So, yeah, we're not totally out of the woods essentially, but I think we're pretty good here. I wanted to go back to talk about Costco. The wholesale inventories obviously decreased, so we experienced like a pretty much a $10 drop or $11 drop in the Costco stock. That would have been nice to get into. Costco here. Costco is down again, down to about 714. We clearly see that Costco today, had you bought a put contract at 728, you know, clearly you would have made like $14. So that's interesting. And yeah, so that's just interesting. All right. I wanted to sort of take a look at this gold price. Like, gold price is very important. You know, gold. Gold is important. Gold hasn't really moved today. Had it, well, I think that's a good sign for the markets. Probably had it moved in either direction, I think we would have seen a bigger move for the worse. I would assume. just because gold is a measure of volatility and a store of value. So gold hasn't really moved much today. I would say maybe $9 or so, maybe $8-9, maybe at most $12. So that's really good to know. Yeah, so I think for today, I'm pretty much into the meta meta and the SPY today, and I just think if you follow the blue chip stocks today, I think would be a pretty good bet for your money today. Like, you know, this is interesting. How, wow, Coinbase here drop right back down to 218. This long tail here, handle. This long tail stick here. Meta. Meta, as I said earlier, you know, look at this, look at this, look at this. What did we say? Call on Meta at 425. It went up to about 445. I would take profit here at 431. I would take profit at 431. Meta. Oh. Meta. It was 445. Yeah, so we would have made like pretty much what is it? That's $20, right? 432. Like I would just take profit right now. 432.55. Or I think if you miss the first run here, maybe you could. I think there's still enough. I think you have enough of a margin to sort of wait another maybe $1 move or so. But I would take profit right now if I were you. Okay, so that's a good trade. That's a good trade. Now, what like the SPY? If we take a look back at the SPY here, if we take a look at the SPY here, we're still seeing that this 498 trade that we had is still obviously losing, but we faded a little bit. So we saw that spike earlier and we reduced our position, right? So now like the sort of the loss rate that we have for today isn't that much, but we're still like within, like we're still less slightly in the red for the SPY today, but I think we should be, we could break even on the SPY today, and because of the this downtrend that we mentioned, we're looking back at the 13 and the 6. The 6 crossed the 13 again. We're back at the VWAP. Can we break this VWAP? If we can't break this VWAP, if we just keep bouncing, on the VWAP, or below the VWAP, I think we have a good chance that it might come back down for another dollar or two, back to maybe 497 ish, 497, 497.50. So we're still, the market is still sort of figuring that out, sort of getting a sense of that. So we're back at VWAP definitely right now. So we can wait on that a little bit. But you know, today I thought the main point, the main trade today was Meta, and Meta like buying in at 425, and right now being at 432. I think was 433 right now. So I think that would have been because that would have been that is a good trade for 433. It would have been better if you got out at 445 earlier, knowing that tech earnings and earnings in general have been bad for the past several weeks. And economic data has been bad for the past several weeks, and knowing that people are just the market was sort of just obsessed with the GDP number today, but most discussion for the past few weeks has been about what are we going to do if we have when are we going to cut the June interest rates. So it's sort of like just more of a confirmation of when the interest rate cuts will be, which I think will be obviously in June. So Meta would have been a good had you got in, would have been a good play at 425. So but as far as today is concerned, I think the only trade remaining that I have is the SPY at 498 that I mentioned earlier. Puts on SPY at 498 just because of the downward trend of the SPY. So I would just hold off. Like I would just keep that for a little bit here at 498. Puts at 498. See how that goes, and yeah. So that's it for me today. I'll be off. I'll be around for today. I'll leave the stream on, so but I'll periodically I'll come back in maybe for a few trades here and there, maybe, or a few recommendations at least here and there. So I'll catch you guys later, and I hope you guys have a good day, and hopefully you guys were able to make some sort of profit off the trades that I mentioned, and I hope to see you guys next time.